This is me again, Prows. I'm delighted to be here with you today. I'm on a roll. I'm going after this. I have this feeling and this desire to tap into the folks, as I'll affectionately call them, as often as I can. I want to create a large body of work that gives them a forum to speak and to share their points of view. I think that there are a number of different voices in the world, obviously, but that this particular set of voices is perhaps the most important and the most preeminent. It's not to say that our points of view, what we say or what goes on here, is less or less important. But I believe that in order to elevate our points of view, elevate how we are, that there needs to be some other ideas. And the ideas that I have been exposed to, and I'm hopefully exposing you to, are particularly interesting. They're particularly profound. They're particularly creative and innovative. And they're the kinds of ideas that work. Working, of course, is someone's assessment, but my view over the past many years is that when I take these ideas and implement them in my life, that my life works better. And I'm in a much better place for having had this experience and having considered and implemented the ideas that have given to me. My quest is to have everybody in the world to have their own connection. That's a fairly big quest and asking a lot, but that's really what I would like. Because I believe that there needs to be a major shift in our societies and our world. And I want to be one of the catalysts for that kind of shift. Now you might ask, why is it important that you have your own connection? What I've experienced is that the ideas, the concepts, the love, the care, the concern that comes through this connection solves a lot of problems. We have problems in our societies that typically are taken care of from a multitude of sources. We have medical problems, we have psychological problems, we have concerns of loneliness and depression, we have concerns of people not knowing who they are or their identity or what their purpose is. We have problems even with them having any kind of meaning in their life. And for zero expense, for just the cost of learning how to plug in and listen, every one of us can have this kind of connection. And it's no cost to society, no cost to governments, no cost to anybody. All it takes is just tuning in. It's a remarkable concept. It's so simple and so elegant, yet it's very, very profound. It doesn't have to have any kinds of ties to it. It doesn't have to have any kinds of monetary connection to it. It's just there. They don't have any ulterior motives. They don't have any expectations of us. They have only one thing, which is love, and a connection with us that is deeply embedded in us, in our bodies. So I feel like that this possibility, the opening for each individual to have a divine connection, to have a connection into the intelligence, into your higher self, however you want to describe that, is perhaps the most compelling and most profound concept that you could ever be exposed to. And I say that knowing full well what I'm saying, because I have been exposed to a lot of profound and cool ideas in my life, and I think I'm a pretty good observer of the world. And so now it is driving me on a day-to-day basis to be able to think about and to share this idea with you, and most of all, to be able to be some kind of a spokesperson, a conduit of their ideas, which are part of all of us anyway, but this is a particularly interesting connection that enables you and it enables me to be able to shift and change and develop. And when that is done at an individual level and it expands, it will happen at a cultural level. So there's my story. I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say, and as I've previously mentioned to you, there are two entities that I connect with, one being God and the other being Goddess, and I'm very interested to see what happens. I always am. I never know in advance what's going to happen. I have some ideas that I would like to propose, or some ideas that I'd like to talk about, or some concerns going on with me, but I never know in advance. So without further ado, let us begin. And traditionally we've started with the Goddess out of respect, and maybe chivalry is not dead. The opportunity that each of you have to tap into the intelligence is very large. When you are brought up, you have a certain set of teachers. Your parents, those around you, sometimes your teachers, sometimes your religious leaders, all have an effect on you and shaping your attitudes and your viewpoints. Those viewpoints and those attitudes are limited to what those people know. This enables you to have a unique and a very interesting environment for you to grow up in. However, it's not until later on that you realize that there are other ideas and other concepts, and that there is a broader perspective. When you start to realize that there's other perspectives, then becomes the dilemma, because you feel a certain loyalty, a certain allegiance to those ideas and concepts that you were brought up with, and yet if you are courageous, you may want to explore some other concepts and ideas that are not a part of the upbringing that you had. So the dilemma comes is that you feel like you are perhaps being disloyal, or that you are not living up to the traditions that have come to you, and that is the dilemma for you. Some people never move outside of those traditions and some of those ideas, or move out of them very little. And therein is the problem that you have as a societies, is that some traditions and some ideas are so limiting, are so restricted, and the cultures and the societies continue to restrict, that you will never ever move beyond those ideas. When you change your thinking, when you look at new ideas that have not previously been approached by you, then you have a wonderful opportunity show up to be able to experience and to be able to think about a broader range of concepts than what you've been brought up with. What we are about is sharing with you the broadest of concepts,